Thanks. Cool, it works. Hi. So it all started with a question. Wouldn't it be fun to spend a day teaching kids how to make movies? So in the summer of 2011, I accidentally started what would end up becoming a free nonprofit arts education program. I say accidentally because I never meant to start an organization. And we had no idea that several years and more than 10 workshops later, we would have started something that we feel like is only just beginning to grow. At the time, I didn't even know who that we was. And that question, that accidentally turned into this. This is us at the end of OMG Cameras Everywhere Los Angeles, one of our free week-long music video workshops last summer. I wanted to tell you about what OMG is and why I think it works. First of all, though, I have a disclaimer. I'm not a teacher, and I don't have any background in education. If I had a business card to hand to any of you today, which I don't, it would say music video director. But I got into making music videos by accident, too. I was always making movies growing up, but it wasn't until I got burnt out studying physics in college that I ended up making my first music video. I was back home in Colorado one summer, and some of my friends had started this band, and I had a camera. So we got together and just came up with an idea, and it needed some kids, so we found some kids, and we just made it happen.
Holla back, 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 holla back. Is it getting hot in here or is it just me? Is it getting hot in here or is it 303?
So less than 2 years later, 303 would end up having the #1 song in the country. And that meant I got to keep making music videos. And through music videos, I met all these other amazing, talented filmmakers who were doing the same thing I was doing. We'd all started making movies that same way, and as we became professionals, we just kept doing it that way. You work with your friends, you come up with some crazy idea, and you end up just doing it yourself. We realized that music videos can be almost anything these days. And it was a few of these other video directors who I called when I had this other idea. So what happens when 4 music video directors ask, wouldn't it be fun to spend a day teaching kids how to make movies? Well, you end up first deciding that instead of a day, it should be a whole week. And instead of teaching classes, it should be a summer camp. I mean, we were going to be there. It should be like something we would have wanted to go to growing up. So we made a pact. We were going to try and fail to start a summer camp that summer, less than a month away. I say we were going to fail because we never expected to succeed, but we figured that when we failed, we would learn about the roadblocks that we would have to overcome to actually start a summer camp the next summer. But you know what ended up happening? We failed to fail. There were just too many other people who joined in and helped out, and before long, we just decided to go for it and make the most of what we had. One thing we had were cameras, because when you really think about it, there are cameras everywhere these days. I mean, there's video cameras, but we have cameras in our computers and on our TVs, in our video game systems. And I mean, everyone here probably has a really wonderful HD camera on their phone right now. How crazy is that? We were going to use all of them, so that's where the name came from. OMG Cameras Everywhere was born, before we even really knew what it would be. We had some ideas to start with. First of all, it wasn't about learning to be professional, it was about learning to be creative. So we decided to work with kids who are a little younger than you would normally find in a film program. Most of our kids that first summer were ages 10 to 12, but that's one of our counselors. Secondly, and more importantly, we wanted to make sure that access was never going to be a limiting factor, no matter what. We wanted kids from every different background being able to come. And so we decided to make the program free, no matter what, for everyone who attended. We needed a space, and so we took over a small 4-room production company office that some of our friends shared, and we needed some money. Not much, because we were volunteering, we used our own cameras, we had our own space, but we wanted to feed everyone, and again, we wanted to give transportation to anyone who would need it. Some kids can get dropped off, and some kids can't, and we wanted to be able to provide for them all. It wasn't about access, it was about ideas. So to raise funding, we turned to this website that had kind of just started called Kickstarter.
Hi, I'm Daniel.
I'm Isaac.
This is Matt.
That's Jack.
And I'm also named Daniel.
And we're the Daniel.
We're trying to start a workshop called
Oh my god, there's cameras
Everywhere!
everywhere!
Are there cameras all over there?
They're everywhere. There's one right there.
Did we say that already?
Oh my god, there's cameras everywhere! Where?
And we ended up raising our fundraising goal in less than 48 hours. So we put the word out to kids. We spoke to our community and our peers, our social networks, but we also worked with organizations such as 826LA and Heart of Los Angeles to get the word out. And before long, 15 kids had signed up for the program, which meant it was actually going to happen. So it was only a month away, and that first day rapidly came along. We had all these lesson plans. We were going to teach the kids how to direct and how to edit. We were going to teach them about how cameras worked. And we showed up that first day, and we threw all the lesson plans out the window. Because if you really want to have fun teaching kids how to make movies, you're never going to be able to stick to a lesson plan. One of the first things we did is show the kids some of the music videos that we had made in our day jobs. And before long, they had decided to just make music videos themselves. And that was fine because, like I said, a music video can be almost anything these days. So we would break up into groups, and each group would make their own project each day from the kids' ideas. And each group wasn't one counselor working with a group of kids. It was 2 or 3 of us counselors collaborating with 3 or 4 kids, taking ownership of all of the ideas together. And we would stay up all night editing the videos so that the next day we could see what we had worked on the previous day and make it better. And when we were editing the videos all night, we would edit the camp itself. We figured out what was happening on the day and working, and we would throw out everything else. We were making the camp up on the fly, and it was getting better and better each day. Some of us had friends in bands, and we invited them to stop by because we were making music videos now. Bands like 303. And more and more filmmakers kept showing up as well. By the end of the week, we had 16 counselors, professional filmmakers, working with 14 kids. I'm not kidding. And we were amazed by the projects that these kids came up with. Not just in their ideas, but in the innovative ways that they came up on how to tell their stories through music videos. Projects like this.
He was really lonely because all his friends were outshore.
And he was like, I want to eat, but he couldn't.
And then the kids climbed inside of him, and he was still sad.
Because he was empty inside.
The parade goes on without me. My body aches, my mind it weeps for you.
I'm so empty inside.
So by the end of just 1 week, in OMG Cameras Everywhere, we had made over 35 minutes of finished material that we were excited to show the world. And just in case any of you aren't filmmakers here, that's insane. 35 minutes of material in a week is insane. A theater in Hollywood had offered to host our screening, but it was the next day, so one more time we stayed up all night getting everything together. And when we deliriously showed up at the theater expecting to find the kids and their parents, we found that word had spread, and the theater was filled. We were floored. But by the time everyone else saw the work that these kids had made in just a week, I think they were floored too. And so once again, we got together and made a pact, a much bigger we this time. We had to do this again the next summer. So that fall, we started OMG Everywhere as a nonprofit. That way we figured, instead of asking our friends for money, we could just ask them to come have fun with us. And we called it OMG Everywhere because we felt like maybe this could apply to other arts as well someday. We went back to our day jobs, and before we knew it, the next summer was about to come along. So what did we learn? When you spend a week teaching kids how to make movies, you end up making more than you thought was possible and learning so much more too. And we found that we could never give the kids enough credit. So that next summer, we got a bigger space. And that meant we could work with more kids and take on more counselors, which meant more projects, more bands, more ideas, but it didn't mean any more sleep. We were still staying up all night editing, trying to make it better, editing the camp, trying to come up with new ideas the next day. And by the end of that week, we'd made over an hour of finished material together. 35 kids, 15 counselors. It was crazy. So now word of OMG had started to spread, and we started to plan on taking OMG Everywhere, everywhere. So the next summer, we first brought OMG Cameras Everywhere to New York, where we worked with a whole different group of kids up in the Bronx at Success Academy Charter School. And that meant we were working with a different group of filmmakers too. Only 2 of us from the original OMG came out, and we found that the results were just as amazing. And then we brought the program to London, international, working with a different group of kids who are older this time, and a different group of filmmaker counselors. And you know, the projects were just as good. I couldn't be there because I was here in Los Angeles, busy planning the next OMG Cameras Everywhere LA, but I started to hear rumors that this workshop in London was better than ever, and that should have made me jealous, but the more I thought about it, the more it just made me really happy and proud, because it meant that we had created something that was bigger than any one of us. And of course, there's OMG Cameras Everywhere Los Angeles. It was the biggest, craziest, most insane week ever. We took over half a school, and that meant we could take on more kids and more counselors and come up with even crazier ideas. And that brings me back to here. So where do we go from here? Well, we're already planning better workshops in different cities. But we're also trying to finally start bringing OMG Cameras Everywhere to other arts. What if there was OMG Dance Everywhere, or OMG Music Everywhere, or an OMG Comedy Everywhere? These are just some of the workshops that we're working on. And there are always going to be so many amazing, talented, creative people who have so much to give to OMG, but there's so many more kids who would have so much to gain from an experience like this. And I would say that you just have to be there, but the least I thought I could do is just give you a taste of what it's like. So I want you to ask yourself, wouldn't it be fun spending a day teaching kids how to make something? And instead, go make it with them. Collaborate with them on their ideas. Figure out what resources you have available and just make it happen. Be as creative and spontaneous as possible and encourage the kids to be as well. And maybe you'll end up with a music video, or a movie, or a song, or a work of art, or a whole nonprofit, and a whole new family. But no matter what, I promise you're going to learn a lot from it. And more importantly, they will too. And that's not going to be an accident. Thank you.